Sorry.
Aisha from Mutiny Radio. Nice to meet you, Gavin.
Hi, Aisha. Very nice to meet you too.
What was it like working with Keira Knightley?
Well, I've got to tell you, Keira was probably the most consummate professional I've worked with. The thing that's exciting working with Keira on this project is we're used to seeing her in corsets and hairdos and all sorts of things, and I think what attracted her to this, at least that's what she said to me, was she gets to just play almost herself. It's very Keira with very little makeup, in ordinary clothes, in a very contemporary drama, and I think you'll find her performance is really quite extraordinary. It's very grounded, and she's such a pro. And we had very little time to shoot, so there wasn't time to have any kind of someone who didn't know their lines. And she is such a professional, and it was a joy to work with her.
Absolutely. And what do you want people to take away from this film?
I think what drew me to this film is really the question of, what would you do if you found yourself in a situation at work where you felt something wasn't quite right? Most of us are afraid to speak up for fear of losing our jobs. And in this particular case, you have a young woman who risked not only losing her job by speaking up, but also her freedom. So what I think one of the things that drew me to the story is it's a story of an ordinary person. This is not the story of it's not the story of a famous person. This is a story of a person not unlike you or I who goes to work every day and finds that something at work is really not right. And chooses to say something about it. And although she's a spy and it all sounds very exotic, and of course that's part of the thrill of watching the movie, and it's about the lead up to the Iraq War and the leaking of an NSA memo and, trying to spy on UN delegates. It's got all that intrigue, but at the heart of it is a young person at work saying something here isn't right and I need to do something about it. And the question for me when I came across Katharine Gunn's story was, well, what would I do? Would I have the courage to speak up at the risk not only of losing my job, but my freedom too? So I like the fact that it's, in a way, a story about one of us as opposed to a hugely famous person.
Totally. And it kind of goes with the territory. I think right now it's probably the best time for it to come out, considering the Mueller report just came out a couple days ago. And do you feel like it ties in with that?
It's interesting. I think we're in a kind of post-truth world, and we're hoping to stop being in a post-truth world. But, does objective truth matter? Or is it just whatever anyone can sell to the public? And I think we're all a little unsettled by that. And what I think is fascinating about the story is that it digs into the way we got into the Iraq War in a way that very few people know. This attempt to gather information on particularly the non-permanent members of the UN Security Council and see if there was a way to manipulate them into voting for war. It's quite disgusting, frankly. And here comes the truth. And I do think that history has a way of uncovering the truth. And sometimes as filmmakers, we're a little behind on the events. This is a story that took place in 2003. But I do think it resonates really strongly today, that somehow the truth will out. And here it comes.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much indeed.
Have a good one.
Go for it.
All right. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And tell us a little bit more about how you're involved with the film.
So I'm Martin Bright. I'm the journalist that broke the story of the COSA memo, the Katharine Gunn story. And thanks to the generosity of Gavin Hood, I've been involved from the beginning of this project in an advisory role. Every step of the way, Gavin was very keen to make this entirely accurate, to follow the events as they happened, and to make sure that this was a true representation of the events of 2003.
Absolutely. And what are you looking forward to seeing the most this evening?
You know what? I'm looking forward the most to watching the film with an audience in San Francisco and seeing how people respond to this film. I've seen the film.
Yeah.
I've watched it with small audiences, but I've never seen it with a large public audience. And this is a film that is designed for the widest audience possible. So I'm really fascinated to see how people respond to it.
Yes, absolutely. Have you had a chance to see any other films while you've been here?
I haven't actually, but I did go and see a David Thompson masterclass about Cary Grant. Very different, but it was fantastic.
Oh my God, he's an original.
Yeah. So let's hope that Matt Smith can at least channel some of the spirit of Cary Grant in his portrayal of me.
Oh yes, absolutely. Just like The Crown too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Great TV show. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks so
And
much.
you. Okay.
Have a good
Thanks
one.
a lot. Bye-bye.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you. Sorry.
Looking forward to seeing the film.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit how you were able to make this film and how that came together.
Well, the film, it started off as a book, and then a script was developed from the book, and it just grew from there. It was quite a slow process, but I'm, really pleased with the results, and I'm grateful to everybody who's contributed.
Absolutely. And kind of a personal question, but how has your relationship changed with your husband since the events took place?
Well, we've been married 17 years, so it hasn't diminished, and I'm still in love with my husband. So.
That's good. And what are you looking forward to this evening in terms of a particular scene or something that'll bring back memories for you because you lived it?
Well, I haven't seen this version. I haven't seen the final version. I saw the final cut. As did my husband. We watched it together. And for both of us, the most emotional scene was when I was sitting in the police custody when I was, we were he was on the outside and I was on the inside. So that brought memories back, and we both had tears in our eyes.
Gotcha, definitely. And what do you want people to take away from this film?
I think the main thing is to take a moment and just think where you would draw the line for making a decision that you would feel right about, that you would feel was, the right thing to do. Where would you draw that line?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, and look forward to seeing the film.
Okay, great.
Have a great night.
Enjoy it. Thank you.